to find out if you have it or you're susceptible to it. And there's some very interesting tests called a C-reactive protein blood test and a homocysteine blood test. And that will tell if your stress level is so high that you are going to have a fatal event, or if you're on your way to a fatal event, or you're just, menza with it. Just so there are.
I couldn't get
tests.
into that organization. What do primary care or traditional healthcare docs, do they do those two tests?
They could, but do they choose to do them? I don't. Probably not as much as we would like them to. Now, if they work with alternative medicine and they are an integrative medical doctor, then yes, they work with those tests. If they're not integrative, then probably not. There's a couple of other tests that are very important too. Of course, your cholesterol, because you want to check your low-density lipoprotein compared to your high-density lipoprotein. Your high density is your good one, and then your low density is your bad one.
And also, there's a ratio between the two that if it's in a certain level, it's great, and you can have a slightly elevated total cholesterol.
Right.
Can you explain that?
Well, you want to get a high HDL, a high-density lipoprotein. You want to get a high level on that. And you want to get a low level on the low-density lipoprotein, which is the bad cholesterol. So sometimes you can have a high total cholesterol because your high-density lipoprotein is so elevated. Has to be above a certain amount. And some people who take a lot of omegas, who eat foods that contain omegas, they have very high levels, much higher than you should have, and that can throw the total cholesterol off. So I don't really like to look at that.
And what about some recent studies show that cholesterol may not be indicative of heart disease?
Well, that's so true. I mean, they have lowered the level of what cholesterol should be at.
Right.
And why do you think that has happened, Mark?
So they can sell more Lipitor.
Right. They can sell more statin drugs because if the level of what your cholesterol should be is lower, and it becomes what used to be normal, which is higher, then they can offer you to take a drug, which you can just say no to.
I hope you don't laugh when I say this. Mm-hmm. I have a friend, I haven't seen him for a few years. His name was Bob. And Bob followed the caveman diet and had very high cholesterol intentionally because he said, we're designed that way. That's what our bodies are for. Now, very healthy looking. As far as I know, he hasn't had any events, cardiac or anything else. And the reason I mention it is that something that you would take to heart and believe in, or?
I would look at the total person, and I believe that cholesterol can be a lot higher than what it says the levels are. And
they want it under 200 now.
Yeah, if it were a little bit high, I wouldn't do anything about it. I would just make sure that they're eating the right kind of cholesterol, and that if they're eating meat, that it's organic and it's not pork and it's not bacon, but that it's bison or, and also organic turkey and chicken and that kind of thing.
Why not pork? I mean, pork loin is very low in fat.
This is a very interesting, I'm so glad you asked me this. Sometimes all of the important data that I have been working with for so many years doesn't come out unless somebody reminds me. Mm-hmm. And in Germany, all of the doctors, medical doctors, and physicists that I work with, which are totally natural, And throughout the history of Germany, pork has a genetic toxin. It's called a Sutoxin, S-U-I-S toxin. And there's actually a homeopathic remedy for it because it resides in a human being's lungs when a person eats a lot of pork. And so it can be the cause of a disease. So we actually have homeopathic remedies to get that out of a person because it can inspire pneumonia. It can inspire many different things because this is a real toxin that pigs carry that lives in the lungs. So that
lungs
human beings,
of the human being.
Yes.
I know this is going to sound really funny, and I hope Daryl laughs. I believe that bacon is one of God's gifts to the world. I try to buy nitrate-free bacon, but bacon it tastes good, okay? I've had turkey bacon, I've had soy bacon, I've had beef bacon, and...
Well, pork is just, I think there's a reason as a part of the Jewish culture that they tell people not to eat it. There is a reason. It is not just a religious belief. And the Germans also do, it's like a very bad thing. And it's one of the things you check patients for over there. When they come in, you check them to see if there's this virus, this toxin that lies in the body from eating pork.
The only time I've had bacon ice cream has been at Mark's house.
That's true. Yeah, we made bacon ice cream once. That is true.
That is unfortunate.
I know, but it did taste pretty good. It did. My son, who's a chef, made that. Yes, I forgot about that. And I try to. I limit it. I don't eat it on a regular basis. What about? We're talking about cholesterol. Egg yolk.
Egg yolk is very healthy, and it's healthier on the loose, raw. I think raw eggs, if they're clean, they don't have salmonella or any kind of toxins in them, that they're actually healthier than cooked eggs because they contain a lot of enzymes. So how you can clean them is you go get organic eggs, you put them in a sink, and you put some water in there, and then you put food grade hydrogen peroxide, 35% food grade hydrogen peroxide.
On the raw egg?
No, and you fill the sink with water.
Right.
And you put about 1/8 of a teaspoon, maybe 10 drops, 15 drops in the sink full of water, and you let them soak for 15 minutes. It will kill anything that's in the egg.
Is the egg in the shell? Or?
Of course. You take the eggs from the carton. You don't break them open.
Got it. I was curious. That's, I need very specific directions. When I was a kid, I hated eggs. Because I think my mother overcooked them. And one of the best things to eat are runny yolks.
And if they were really runny, like raw, and if you put them in a blender and you either ate them straight or put them in a blender with organic orange juice, you would have orange Julius.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So the point is that kind of food is really healthy. I think eggs are healthy. Of course, you can always have an allergy to them. You can always be sensitive to them. But there's nothing healthy about bacon,
right.
And there isn't anything healthy about pork. I don't care if they call it the new white meat. I don't care what they're going to call it, but it's just no truth to that.
Got it. Even though it's some of it is fat-free or near fat-free.
Yeah, even so. You could just switch. You'd have to change, Mark. And people have to change what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Because it's worth being healthy. You change a little bit, you can become a lot, very, very good health. A lot of things can change. So I probably haven't had pork maybe for 40 years.
Oh, my. And what about, they're the substitute, chicken breast.
Health.
Yeah. Chicken breast or turkey breast.
Chicken breast, as long as it's organic and, as long as it's organic, I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. I think that it's healthier. Some people need more protein. It's very hard to do that vegetarian, being a vegan, having enough protein, and if a person wanted to be vegan, then they would do hemp protein as the number one my favorite protein, and then pea protein, pea protein.
As in the green peas.
As in the green peas. So, and it tastes pretty good. So, but there's so many things that are, if you wanted to eat heavier protein, you could go to chicken, you could go to turkey, you could make it so you like it. I have some great recipes in my book for if you wanted to have chicken breasts and have it taste a little bit like curry in coconut milk. You could cook them like that and bake them like that and have it be really yummy.
That sounds good. Maybe later in the week. This is Natural Health Radio. Dr. Teresa Dale. I'm Mark Alyn, running the board and the controls. Daryl Wayne.
The insane Daryl Wayne.
The insane Daryl Wayne. How could I?
Yeah.
How could I? One last thing on eggs. What about egg whites? I mean, there's a whole big thing about, you go to a restaurant, and even natural restaurants that serve organic food, they'll ask you, do you want eggs or do you want egg whites?
I just think that there's not a problem with cholesterol in eggs. So if you want egg whites, you can put them on your face to help as a mask. You can put them in baked goods to make them fluffy and angel food, gluten-free angel food cake. You can do many different things with them, but I don't think that really is something that you need to do to avoid having high cholesterol when maybe it's not high after all. Don't forget, your liver makes cholesterol. And so we have to make sure that our liver is making the right amount and that we don't overdo it with our diet with bacon, ice cream, or chocolate-covered bacon, or any other things that you
I couldn't get into that one. The chocolate-covered bacon never, that's not a
well, so as far as cardiovascular health, I think that we need to be tested if we doing a C-reactive protein or homocysteine test would be awesome. You could go to my website at wellnesscenter.net, and if you wanted to order your own blood test, that means you do not have to go to a doctor. And we really believe in health freedom here at Natural Health Radio. You could go to the website and put your cursor over the word products at the top, and you'll see a window opens, and then you'll see order blood tests. You can order your own blood test, and it takes you to direct labs, and you can call them. You can order it yourself. They give you a requisition form and tell you about a lab to go to, a drawing station in your neighborhood. So they find you a place like right down the street, as close to you as possible, and you may have various selections to choose from. Mm-hmm.
And you do that by going to wellnesscenter.net.
Right, and you just go under products and you hold your cursor there, and then you'll see order blood tests here. Now, I arranged that for everyone with deep discounts for everyone. So a $600 test might cost, on this way doing it, $97.
Oh, my.
So anybody can afford to get their own blood tested. You do not need to go to a doctor to do that. You need to go to the Wellness Center to do that. And you need to you can see any test, any cancer test, any test, and then you can choose, if you need help with reading it, you can choose a doctor to go to and bring your tests, because you pay for it, you get the results. It's your blood, it should be that way.
It's your blood, your test. Go to wellnesscenter.net, wellnesscenter.net. I'm on the site right now, and in addition to blood tests and a lot of homeopathic remedies, there are other tests as well. There are a number of blood tests and saliva tests that Dr. Dale has made available to you, the community. All you have to do is go to wellnesscenter.net, wellnesscenter.net. We're talking about cardiovascular health, and as we continue our discussion on that, what about stress and exercise in cardiovascular health?
Well, that's, of course, it's so very important that you do cardiovascular exercise. I mean, Everybody should do that. So if it's walking, if it's on a treadmill, if it's on the elliptical treadmill type device, if it's hiking, whatever it is, you should do it a few times a week. Really, 3-4 times a week.
When I was, as you know, I was out of town last week. I was in Philadelphia.
Did you exercise?
Boy, did I exercise. My wife doesn't understand why I can exercise so much when I'm away, but not so much when I'm at home. I was in Philadelphia, and I walked from Rittenhouse Square, which is a park that was founded by William Penn. I was so amazed by this park. I hadn't been there in a number of years, and it's beautiful. And you see all kinds of people, young and old, and they're reading, they're walking. Anyway, I walked from there to the Independence Mall, where the Liberty Bell is, and that's about 1.5 miles each way. So I walked 3 miles, and I felt great. And I did it again the next day. So it was a lot of fun, and I'm people watching.
I think your wife has a good question.
She
Why
does.
Is it
And she says, we live in such a beautiful area. There are hiking trails, and you can go into the Santa Monica Mountain National Park. I don't know why.
How far do you live from the park? Is it across the street from where you live?
Almost a mile. It's a mile less. And what you do is you drive in, you park your car there, and then you can walk to the PCH, you can walk to a waterfall. I want to do the waterfall. I haven't done that for a while. The last 3 years, because we've had a drought in Southern California, there's been no water in the waterfall. But I understand that the waterfall is falling, so I need to go see it.
Awesome. Well, it's so important to get the cardiovascular exercise and to get the stretching. The stretching helps the body utilize nutrients better, as well as cardiovascular. If you take vitamins and you don't move, it's not healthy. So you need to have cardiovascular, walking, any kind of movement that is deliberate movement.
And what about stress and cardiovascular health?
Well, I think stress is huge. I mean, this is one of the biggest, but exercise helps with stress. It really helps burn it up. Also, meditation helps with stress. I do TM, and I do that for stress to help me every day, and because everybody needs that, no matter what your life is like. Maybe you're not working, maybe that's a stress because you don't have a job. Maybe you're not working and you have little kids, and that's a stress. Whatever the situation is, you have to find a time to move, to get the exercise in, do some stretching, and maybe a little meditation.
I try to meditate in short bursts, but unfortunately it works the same way as my exercise routine. However, should we move to your other topic?
Well, I think that one of the things we need to understand about this whole cardiovascular health, is that even a person who has as their genetics, when they go to the doctor, did your mother have a heart disease? Yes, both of my parents had that. Okay. Just because that happened doesn't mean that you have to have it happen.
That whole new study of epigenetics.
That's the whole thing, is that whole new study about epigenetics, meaning that you can change it. And to change it, just do what we're talking about. Listen to Natural Health Radio, follow the advice, and whatever it is that you glean from us or the experts that are on, and that'll give you a way forward. So exercise, work on your emotions. Emotions are key. And, and eat the right things. Don't eat the bacon stuff,
I haven't had it for a long time.
Just kidding.
I know you.
Okay.
I know you.
So
it's funny because we're often on the same wavelength. Mm-hmm. And I was going to ask you about if you had genetics, if your genetics indicate cardiovascular disease.
I do. I have genetics for cardiovascular diabetes.
Yeah, me too.
Lens implants in my in eyes. I have just major genetic things to deal with: strokes, gallbladder issues, removal, etc. And fortunately, since I know what I know, I don't have anything like that.
Right.
Reading glasses, which I don't even need today.
That's it. Does that change for you day to day?
Sometimes it does. I find that at work, I may need them more than on the weekend. I could just not even think about it and pick up something and start reading and not even think that I need glasses. But at work and on the computer, I think that a lot of people need them more because you read differently. You don't go from left to right. You look straight. You just keep staring at the computer. So there are some vision remedies on my website that people can take a look at drdaleswellnessstore.com, and then you can see the remedies for vision, if that's something that you want to work on.
I wanted to mention that before we change topics quickly, the California College of Natural Medicine, which Dr. Dale founded and is the dean, right?
I am.
You am. You am? The California College of Natural Medicine, and you were talking about a friend of the show, the friend of Natural Health Radio, that they're going to be taking some classes with you, and I thought we should talk about that. The person that we were talking about is a medical professional. However, if you're just thinking about starting out, and you're
same thing. You could do that, whether you're a medical professional. And sometimes, Mark, it's almost like just starting out, because you have to learn everything new, everything from a different perspective. And it is frustrating, for medical professionals, or if you just want to have a career in the health field and just spread positivity and hope and give them information on nutrition and health and how they can have a better life and help themselves, learning clinical nutrition or homeopathy. I mean, what could be better?
And what about age? I mean, do you not accept people, say, who's 50 years old or plus?
We accept people your age.
Thank you. 50, I like that.
40, right?
40. Oh, bless your heart. Because, medical schools won't. And to a certain extent, I almost understand that, because you've got, 12 years of medical school and specialty and all of that. And, of course, I don't agree with a lot of the things that they teach there, and the lack of nutrition and all that. My point is that Albert Schweitzer was over 40 when he went to medical school.
Right.
And so you can become your own Albert Schweitzer by going to the California College of Natural Medicine, cconm.com, cconm.com. And no matter what level you're at, you can take courses. You can take courses just to learn for yourself, or you can take courses to become a healthcare professional.
Right. I think it's that many people dream of helping others and really want to, from a very wonderful, good place, yet they think it's going to take forever and it's too late for them. And so many of our trainings are online, and you can do it at your own pace, which is really great. I mean, the testing is, you get a test after each module, but the testing is meant to help the person navigate through the training rather than to trick somebody. Testing could be very, very good, and that's the way that I've arranged all the testing. So they're a learning tool, actually.
Interesting. And, of course, you are accredited.
We are state approved by the state of California. We're a vocational school since 1994.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Again, the website is cconm.com. What are we going to talk about next?
Well, the whole thing is, I was pulling this up the last week, information on homeopathy in the United States and how in a way we're so far behind what doctors use, so much homeopathic medicine in the United States and Australia and other countries. But in the United States, since 2015, there's a 15% increase in the general public using homeopathy, and that is huge. So, because people are getting smarter when it comes to dealing with things. Normally you might have to take a drug, and instead of that, you can find the same resolve, if not a lot better and natural and no side effects using a homeopathic remedy.
Interesting. And then there was also, in conjunction with that, was it Harvard?
It's a Harvard study that
Wow.
I'm looking at, and I brought it with me.
Okay.
And it's actually saying that, 15%, and it has raised since 2015, and that many medical doctors are using it now. In their health. And so if you go to a medical doctor that you love and you're listening, talk to your doctor and tell him you want him to use it.
Hey,
Tell
absolutely.
him you want him to use homeopathic medicine, and tell him if he doesn't know much about it, he can call me. I'll talk to him. We'll help him, because that's what we do. We work with health providers. So, but there's been a 15% increase in the usage of it in the United States.
In the last year? Or
since 2015.
So in the last 2 years?
Yeah, but compared to Europe, let's say, I know many years ago, the number of medical doctors that were using homeopathy was over 50%, over 50% in Germany. We're using regularly, daily homeopathic medicine.
And there are other countries that utilize other forms of alternative care before they go to allopathic, because of the safety, because of the efficacy, and because of the cost. All three of those.
Well, I mean, it's very cheap. Using a homeopathic remedy, you're paying $6 for a little tube of it in the health food store for sinuses, or for getting stung by a bee, or having swelling in your ankles. I mean, it's going to be it's the cheapest thing you could ever use and the most effective thing you could ever use.
Why would my ankles swell? Never mind.
From the bacon.
From the bacon.
The bacon's got to get you, baby. It's going to get
absolutely.
you.
That's
Right.
cardiovascular.
Right. Could
Right?
be.
I don't have swelling.
Well, that's good. I'm glad.
I do
I'll
not
check
have
next
swelling.
time just to make sure.
No, look, there's no swelling.
That's great.
Okay.
So he has little skinny ankles, if anybody wants
Wanted
to know.
You have very skinny ankles. One funny story, I was on a TV show in Philadelphia, and they said, we want you to talk about these swim trunks. And the swim trunks didn't have
Did they put
a
you?
net.
Did they want you to put them on?
I asked that. I said, I'll do it, but you have to understand my legs are so white that you're going to blind people. And they said, no, you just have to hold them up, silly. That's all you have to do. So I was relieved with that. I did not have to do that.
So they didn't get to see your ankles
Or my knees.
or your knees.
Right.
So going back to homeopathy, you can use it before surgery and after surgery, like arnica is used before dental surgery, before any kind of surgery. You use it because it takes the trauma away from the tissues. Period. I mean, it's phenomenal. And after surgery, there's nothing better for healing the body.
What about arnica for pain?
Arnica is great for pain. Also, in high dosage, a very high dosage of arnica, it is phenomenal for emotional issues and suicidal complaints.
I was traveling last week, and I always take this with
And
me.
you picked up your arnica.
No, I brought it with me.
You brought it with you.
I brought it with me.
And what dosage is it? A 30C?
Let me see.
It's a 30C potency?
It's I can't tell.
30C potency is a very good one because it contains a little bit of the emotional issues that you may have. In other words, it'll be helped by that. And it says it's a 6C. I think on the back it looks like it's either a 6 Is that a 6C? That is a very low dosage, more for pain.
9C.
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 Okay, it's more for pain, but if you wanted to handle things a little bit more critical, you might look at a 30C of arnica.
Got it.
So if somebody were getting surgery, and I have patients that, if they're getting surgery, like I just have Frank, who just has been, he and his daughter are health providers, and he's just having his pacemaker removed because he doesn't need it anymore. And so I had him do some hypnosis before the surgery, and he's in his 80s. Some hypnosis before, arnica before, vitamin C before and after, outpatient procedure, and he's just like feeling great. So arnica is helpful. It has no side effects. You can use it for baby, for teething. Also very good, like they have little teething remedies you can get in the health food store. Homeopathy is the biggest, most expansive type of medicine that has ever been invented. It's used all over the world. Sweden, all the Nordic countries, England, Queen Mother
uses.
That's their main thing they've always used is homeopathy. None of them take drugs because it's they're all involved with homeopathy.
With homeopathy, there's I'm going to call it a pharmacopoeia because it's which may not. It's like an encyclopedia of drugs.
Yes.
Right. There's a U.S. In fact, I looked it up. There's one for all these countries you've mentioned: Germany, France, Italy. All these countries have a.
It's a materia medica, and then the United States has a U.S. pharmacopoeia that is, you could say, a pharmacopoeia, but it's basically. For United States, it's a list of all of the ones they want you to sell. They allow you to sell in the United States.
But for specific
right. Oh, yeah.
illnesses.
Oh, absolutely.
Like a headache or something.
Even some of the great ones are not allowed to be sold in the United States. Like there is such a thing as homeopathic insulin, which can be intramuscularly injected and works instead of insulin and works. To get your pancreas making its own insulin. The United States, you're not allowed to use it. The United States, you're not allowed to use many that will help people. However, in Europe, that's what they use. In other countries, they use the homeopathic insulin.
Do they use that as a first step?
Yes.
And if it doesn't work?
Well, here's the thing is that insulin that you take you're taking a hormone, so it'll make your pancreas so that it will never produce insulin. It'll almost make it into a vegetative state where you have to keep using insulin your whole life, which is why the doctors say you keep using insulin your whole life. But in Europe, if you used a homeopathic insulin, you can actually remind the pancreas to make its own insulin and heal the body. You want to heal the body.
And what about the efficacy? In other words, nothing works 100% for everybody.
Right.
Okay. So how do you switch that up?
There's different potencies of insulin. There's different potencies of all homeopathic remedy. So an insulin that was homeopathic, you could use a 3X, which is very physical. It's more of physical, still an energy, but it's still physical. And, it's like the doctors in Europe test the patients to find out what's best. So they use electrodiagnosis, which for years wasn't allowed in the United States, and then they call it transdermal screening. They call it something different now so they could get that name approved. But electroacupuncture is still used all over the world. You test to see if the patient needs a 3X, a 6X, a 2X, an 8X, 9X, and then maybe the C's. That one's a 9C.
This was a 9C, right.
And so that's not a bad dosage, but it worked better if it was a 30C.
Could you take 3 of these to?
No,
it doesn't
work like that.
It doesn't work that way.
No. So the thing is that as homeopathic medicine spreads here, people should go out and buy a whole lot of it, because we don't want the anybody to stop us from using it. You can always go to Canada, and you could buy homeopathic medicine from Canada, where it's approved as a part of the natural health system there. If you wanted to get homeopathy, you could.
Interesting.
Just like in Europe.
I got an email the other day, which I, of course, discarded, your Canadian pharmacy, and, of course, they were selling male erectile
I was
products.
just thinking Viagra.
Yeah, it's Viagra. And, cheaper than you can get it here in the U.S. It's a topic for discussion, why pharmaceuticals cost so much more money here than around the world.
Well, why do you think?
Oh, I know why.
It's greed.
It's greed.
That's all it is. Doesn't cost more to make. It's just greed. But in Canada, you can also get many different types of homeopathic medicine that you can't get here. The best place to order it, if they don't irradiate it in some way when it comes into the United States, which is why I stopped buying a lot of remedies from Europe, because when they ship them here, then they have to go through quarantine, even though they're in a glass bottle and all of that. It's possible. But you can get anything you want from Europe sent to the United States in a small, little package that is directed to you. For anything, just go check out the remedies they have, and there's a website called homeoint.org, homeoint.org. It has literature, it has what each remedy does, it's free to use. You can look up any condition and see the remedies.
Wow.
Multiple remedies that you can use for it.
For
Multiple.
whatever condition you might have.
Oh, yes.
From headaches to itchy feet.
To itchy feet, headaches, to Morgellons disease, to anything you want to look up.
What was that disease?
Mark Alyn.
It was Mark Alyn, okay. I wanted to make sure. I've made it. I've had a disease made after me. Better than an ice cream sundae with bacon ice cream.
Hence the name.
Hence the name. This is Natural Health Radio. Dr. Teresa Dale and Mark Alyn chatting with you, as well as Daryl Wayne, who is
still insane,
and keeping us, in line and on time. I want to talk about wellnesscenter.net. Wellnesscenter.net is your source for the latest information on keeping you and your family healthy. Go to wellnesscenter.net. First, there are videos. There are audios. There are a lot of interesting articles and blogs, all provided by Dr. Teresa Dale, as well as I don't even know what to call it, an encyclopedia of products designed to help you and your family, from allergy all the way to skincare. So go to wellnesscenter.net, wellnesscenter.net, to find out how you can improve your health inexpensively. You can take tests. You can learn. It is just a wonderful website, wellnesscenter.net. What do we have next in our remaining 10 minutes or less than 10 minutes?
I think we should talk about options for things, for treats that people usually get. Like if they're going to eat ice cream, what they can get, or coconut ice cream, or there's even ice cream made from kombucha that they freeze and make it into a sorbet. It tastes good. You'd be surprised.
I sometimes have a problem with kombucha. Mm-hmm. Not always, but sometimes. And I like the idea.
It's too fermented? It's too fermented?
I like the fermentation. I love pickles. There was an article last week that I read. Pickles, what was it? Pickles may extend your life.
Yeah, I always like pickles too, fermented.
Right, and I don't like vinegar pickles. I like actual fermented brine pickles, they're called.
Oh, good.
Right? And they're full of probiotics. Mm-hmm. And
So I think that the raw probiotic foods, the fermented foods, are like cabbage and kimchi and those kind of things are really healthy. Sauerkraut, they even do it with garlic. I've never had fermented raw garlic.
I haven't either.
Well, they say it's sweet, but I haven't tried it yet.
I haven't even seen that one.
Yeah,
Have you,
it's in the
Daryl? You
health
would like
food
that
store.
Too.
Garlic.
Yeah, because I love kimchi. You like kimchi? Nah. Do you like kimchi?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like kimchi. You know what I do with kimchi?
What?
Make
it into ice cream?
No, I don't make it into ice cream. I put it on chicken and I grill it.
Oh, nice. Boy, that sounds good.
Yeah, I grill the chicken, and then just before I take it off, I put the kimchi on the chicken and let it grill just slightly. It softens the flavor, and then I put more raw on my plate.
Oh, good. So what is going to happen when you one day go to heaven and God says to you, Mark, you just ate too much bacon?
It's true. Yeah.
What are you going to do? What are you going to say?
Well, we all make mistakes. I'm not perfect like you, sir.
So people always ask me information about veggies, which ones
Right.
are good. What about Brussels sprouts? I really don't like Brussels sprouts, but they're very healthy. And if you can roast them a little bit or, whatever you need to do to kill the taste.
I agree. I hated them as a kid. Huh?
But when you cook them up with a little bacon,
Yeah, that's true. Which is very popular with them now, and I don't do that. What I do is I
Roast them?
roast them. I coat them with a high grade organic olive oil, and I put mustard seed.
Oh, that's
on it.
very good. I'll have to try that.
Then roast them.
Right.
And even when you cook them, because when you cook Brussels sprouts or broccoli, it sounds like you've had, the LA Rams in your house because of the can we say farting?
Yeah, you can
Doctor?
just set it.
Yeah, I guess I did. It smells awful.
Yeah.
But when you bake them and roast them that way,
And I
there's
think
no
they're
smell.
good with potatoes. And I had something very good this weekend. I had Indian food, and one of my favorite Indian dishes is saag paneer. It's just spinach with a little paneer cheese, which is a homemade cheese, not an old cheese, but a newer cheese, and they put very little in there. And the Ayurvedic spices on it were amazing.
Is that made with milk?
No.
The cheese?
No. Oh,
No.
the cheese is, yes, a little bit.
A little bit of milk.
I think
I've had
there's
that.
cream.
I like that too.
Yeah, a little bit. There's hardly any paneer in there to even mention it. But the saag paneer, the spinach, is probably one of my favorite things on the planet to eat because of the spices that they use on that dish. And it's very healthy because Ayurvedic spices are extremely healthy to put in food. But
Name a couple of those.
Oh my goodness, I don't know. I mean, one of the things I would look at coriander, cumin. I would look at turmeric. I would look at cayenne or other kinds of peppers that they use, red peppers. So I think having a little spice in your food, using turmeric, using cumin and coriander and black pepper and other kinds of spices that I may not be even mentioning would be a great addition to any dish that you could have.
My understanding also is black pepper helps to absorb other nutrients.
It's it's very good, black pepper. Yeah, very black. I like black pepper.
I like it all. I have a sad story. I planted a Thai chili plant, and I don't think it's doing well.
That you poured the bacon grease on it, right? So here's the thing: is we advocate for you. We're here for you to help you eat healthy, natural, living foods. So eating foods raw is very good. I have a Vitamix and I put greens in there. I'll put some blueberries in there. I'll put turmeric in there. I'll put ginger in there. and I make it taste really delicious. So you can do that. You can buy some coconut ice cream and stick a scoop of that in there, and it'll cover up the taste of the greens. So whatever you need to do in order to get it down, in order to enjoy it and get it down, you could put coconut water in it as well.
Is coconut water better than coconut milk?
Yeah, coconut water is more hydrating. I've seen you drink that many
Yes.
times here. So I think coconut water is hydrating. It's really healthy. It's good in smoothies. It's good. It doesn't replace regular water. You still need to drink regular water. Okay, it doesn't replace it. Your
Right.
kidneys have to detox, and what God here put on this earth for us to do that is regular, clean water.
The green vegetables, which we're supposed to eat. I mean, I love raw spinach, for example, in a salad. I like mustard greens, which are difficult to find.
They are, but they're very tasty.
Right.
Yeah.
Are those all those kind of green leafy
Any
things?
kind
good?
of green leafy thing you want to put in a smoothie or make would be great. Collard greens are delicious and wonderful. Down the south, they make some very good dishes with them. You have to eat greens every day, even if you get a spiralizer and stick a zucchini on it, and then you can make the zucchini in little spirals that come out. If your food looks better, it could also taste better.
They actually have done studies where I think they put blue light or green light in a room and offer people great food, and they can't eat it because it doesn't look appetizing.
Right. Yeah.
And in natural light, which is blue, but it's the color temperature blue, sunlight, you look at greens and things, and they are appetizing.
Right.
We are just about out of
Well,
time, Doctor.
that is just so great that we could actually bring all of these things to you today. We appreciate it. We are Natural Health Radio. Thank you, Mark Alyn. We just about have a minute to go. I think, what would you like to wrap it up with to say today?
I would like to say, one, thank you, Dr. Teresa Dale, for all the information that you're providing us, and to stop by and visit wellnesscenter.net, because as much information as Dr. Dale has shared with us today, look at her website and see how much more you can learn. Go to wellnesscenter.net and see exactly what's going on in the world of health.
And don't forget to stay tuned for next week. We're going to have another show for you next week. So we want to remind you that all of these shows are on the wellnesscenter.net. They're also on iHeartRadio, put up there every week. And we want to thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, Daryl Wayne.
And thank you, Daryl, and thank you, Dr. Dale.
All right.
Thank you,
care.
Dale.
My pleasure.